Welcome to Therabytes, where we bring you bite-sized episodes, each one a piece of the puzzle that helps to explain the therapy world, the research behind it all, and how it relates to families. Hello, my name is Dr. Dana Poole. I'm a physiotherapist and the clinical lead at the Healthy Strides Foundation. It is my privilege to be hosting this podcast, one that is directed for parents of children with neurodisabilities. We hope to be able to answer some of your questions through this format. But to navigate our way through these big questions, we have the one and only, the lovely Naresha co-hosting this podcast. Welcome, Naresha.
Hello, hello. How are we?
Hello. Good, thank you. It's good to be back here again. I love having a chat.
That's
and
good.
I love the intro music. Every time the intro music comes on.
It just makes me want to bop.
Yeah, we are just bopping about, hey.
Yeah,
And we know there's
yeah.
science behind that now. There's a groove mechanism in our brain. So,
your do you know what? And do you know that?
Yeah. And I do have a few of these. And
that's
I
cool.
love looking at these other areas of research. I do pick out the ones that are not too strange. And this week, I thought I'd bring this one up because I was faced with being behind someone that was a really dangerous driver, and it was making my blood boil a little bit. And it was very dangerous. Actually, they went up onto the curb like 2 or 3 times. So they were obviously on something or not paying attention or something like that. And when I read this article, I thought, oh yeah, I need to stay calm, because did you know that when you're calm and relaxed, not only is it really good for you, it actually helps to make sure your cardiovascular system stays intact. It feels really obvious.
Okay.
So in this new research published in the Journal of American Heart Association, so a serious journal, it was found that even a brief episode of anger that could be even triggered by recalling a past experience can hinder the ability for your blood vessels to relax, which is really critical for your healthy blood flow. So you kind of, you see people when they're really upset, you kind of go, wow, your face is going really red.
Yeah.
Clearly this is not good for you right now.
Yeah.
But even if you just have these brief episodes where you just get quite angry about something, it just influences your blood vessels to not be able to relax. And so that can blood pressure and all that kind of stuff. So you just want to chill.
Yeah.
Every time you will feel like it's gonna cut up there. When every time that kid doesn't put away that Lego because you're gonna step on it, it's gonna chill. You just gotta bring it down.
Now that word chill is just going to appear in my head each time my blood boils.
Yeah, every time the blood boils, yes, let's go
Calm.
chill. Just chill. It's good for you because otherwise someone else's annoyance is going to affect your health, and that is
that's
not
true.
fair.
No.
And so there is science to show that the effect of just chill.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, take a
Well,
deep breath.
I think we all have to take that into consideration with this day and age.
I think
There's
so.
so many things just to take us to that next level of blood boiling.
Yeah, it does, doesn't it? Man.
It's called nearly overflow. Just chill.
Oh, this is how we sound really cool. The young kids. Put it on ice. Do they still say that?
Really?
I don't know.
Wow.
We met a young person really cringe.
I know. It's like, oh my goodness, these people are really that old.
Oh gosh, it's so hard to know these
Behind the
days.
times,
It's okay.
man.
We're just going to chill. I'm pretty sure that's still an okay word to
Sure.
use.
Yeah. Such an 80s word, but
Such an 80s. That's what happens when you're born. I was born in the 80s, so that's that's okay.
that's good.
Yeah.
all right.
Feels a long time ago. So the young people go, oh, in the olden days? No, that was not olden days. But now we're all going to chill. I'm not going to let those blood vessels contract.
Cool. Okay.
Question.
Yes. So anyway, this one's going to allow you to chill. Now, equipment to motivate movement. Now, yes, first of all, when and what equipment do we introduce to our children to encourage them to move, right? And it brought me memories with my little boy. He was introduced to the motion movement when he was probably between 6 to 12 months, maybe when he was 9 months. And we were in OT at PCH.
At the Perth Children's Hospital,
Yeah,
if you were
sorry,
outside of Perth. Yeah.
No, Princess Margaret Hospital.
Oh, gosh.
It was
yes.
way back then, right?
Okay, way back then. Yeah.
Okay. So anyway, she started going, because obviously I think he was in a sitting position. He was quite comfortable in that position. So the OT offered us this mini foam wheelchair. And it was the cutest thing. And I thought, I didn't think anything like that would ever exist, right? Anyway, she put him in there and she pushed him.
Yeah.
And then she pushed him. And then she pushed him. And then he started to actually wheel himself, like put his hands on the wheels and push himself.
Oh, great.
And then he would go again and he did it. And the most cutest giggle came out of him. It was like genuine giggle. It was like just amazing.
Yeah.
So it's imprinted in my mind. So to introduce children to motivate movement, do they need to feel it first, obviously, then to encourage? I mean, it's just like anything, right? You want to feel something to then say, oh, I want to go along that path.
Yeah,
and
that's
do it.
right.
So is that a way in order to get kids into equipment first?
That's such a good one because it's so important. Number one, that it's motivating. Like we're all, as humans, we need a good motivation point. Doesn't matter who we are, how old we are, and we want that motivation to allow us to have a reward pretty quickly. And when you're younger, it's a very quick reward. Like, I do it, I get the reward. I do it. And as you get older, you're like, I will do the hard slog and I'll get the reward in 2 months' time. It's kind of that whole thing. But in young children, you want them to feel a sense of accomplishment, feel like they can achieve something. And when they do that, they're more confident and more competent to take that next step. And if we don't introduce that possibility to them early, they will forever think, oh no, everything has to happen to me. I can't do it. And once that starts to set in, and it doesn't take long for that to set in, they just wait for people to come to them and they don't become very active. They're not active people in their own lives, right? They'll end up being passive and they'll sit there and they'll cry because they need something. They can't go and actuate something themselves. Set alone the side that, toddlers, babies, tantrums, like those things do happen. That's regardless. That happens to everyone. But when you don't have the ability to influence your environment, you get frustrated. Every person, every child does. So introducing, and I love that story that you've told because your OT was on the money, man, like introducing a way for your baby to influence his environment, to be part of the world, to see that he's part of the world, first step in getting them to be motivated. And that has a flow-on effect for the rest of their life because they have been taught from a very early age, like a lot of babies would, because they would crawl to get to where they need to, right? Now, because crawling is so hard for so many of our children, they can't get their knees up because they've got spasticity, they've got tone, all those things, and that limits their ability to get it. So instead of just slogging it out so they can crawl, give them something that in that developmental stage helps them to connect how their body can get from A to B to get to where they want.
Hard work.
Without that hard work, without that strain. And then it's enjoyable. Then you get the reward.
I think that's where the giggle came from. And it didn't come
beautiful.
It didn't come to mind until I was thinking about this question. It's like, wait, hold on. He was introduced to it so way back when. And to see him come so far now. Is amazing.
Well, I think the seeds were laid down right then, or the foundation, right? That was where it was. And
then later on we went into rehab, obviously, and then Dr. Jane Valentine introduces to, because she looked at him and she goes, okay, well, let's give him the opportunity to further, I guess, the experience with a remote control car.
Yeah, that's right. I remember that.
And at the time, I still didn't get it. I don't know what the purpose of this until this question rose to me this morning. And it all just started flooding back.
All clicks,
And I'm thinking, it was great because now he is using a few different mobility
pieces of equipment. That's right. And it's really just welcoming equipment. I think for so long and traditionally there was this real like almost stigma with equipment. Man, like, do you need to use this? But then I often think about glasses. Some people need to wear glasses to see and to function. There's nothing wrong with that.
I was holding back. It took me a while to get into it, but yes, it's great now.
It can be, right? But at the time, you're like, no, this is not what I expected and wanted, and it's our job to come alongside to help you through and go, look, but this is what can happen. So the acceptance of equipment is often a barrier, and that's societal. Like, it's how we're brought up. It's what we see, and there's a lot of things that culturally we have to work through. But we know when you say to someone, hey, but you need glasses to be able to see, that helps you function. Apart from that, like if you didn't have that, you wouldn't be able to get to do everything that you do, right?
That's right?
So it's the same with our kids. We are introducing it early, and those motorized cars are brilliant, and you can adapt them. I remember that one. It was an orange car, and you can buy them from the shops, and you can adapt them. There's manuals online of how you can switch adapt them, so that your kid can sit in there. If they need a bit more support, there's little things you can put in there to help them be supported. But they can learn how to press the button. They go. and then stop. And they learn how to influence that. And that's all part of, again, mobility is a human right.
Yeah, that's right.
Because that is a motivation.
Yeah.
And if you get them motivated, then they'll want to do more things and they'll live their best life as a result. So it doesn't look the same for a lot of our kids, but if we can come around them and be inventive of what equipment we can come around them, the equipment's also known as assistive technology or assistive device. It's just to help them to develop.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But do you think out there's a worry of the child becoming too dependent on such equipment?
Yeah, that's often a real concern. Look, there's actually a fair bit of research in this area at the moment now. So, for example, a child that's classified within GMFCS level 2, there's a fair bit of work on this area that was published earlier this year actually. Yeah. And they found that for the children so these children, GMFCS level 2, do often walk independently in the community, and they do eventually do so by the age of about 8. Like they sort of really do peak out at that time. And they can start a little bit early, but they might be a bit unsteady. But the whole idea is even before then, if you give them like a walking frame in the meantime, you help to develop their confidence, get their number of steps up that they can do, because they might be able to take 10 steps on their own, not particularly functional because they can't get from A to B. Yep. Give them a walker, let them get to where they need to be. And by the time they hit a certain age, they've got the confidence, they'll abandon their walker. Right. They don't really need it. Yeah. They might need it for really long distances potentially. So it's really something that is truly assistive. Okay. And so a child that's got hemiplegia or one side of their body affected, we give them walking frames to get them up, like give them that sense of accomplishment. Yep. And then once they can do that and they're capable of developing further, they always will. Okay. And then the equipment starts to come aside, or they just use for, every now and then if it has to be. Yeah, yeah. So people are really worried about dependence on equipment for kids who they think might walk on their own. That tends to be the thought is in that area. Okay. And it kind of goes back to the idea of it's not just this or that. It's this and that. Yeah. You might be able to have different options. But it's very fluid in the first 10 years of life. Okay. If these kids are sort of GMFCS level 1 and 2 or, the high percentiles for 3, they're going to be able to do some walking on their own, but it'll look different. They'll attain it later. So you just give equipment in the meantime so that they're still confident. You don't want them to be fearful of moving and you want them to keep developing that. And it's good for their muscles to strengthen. Yeah. And movement. They go for a lot longer. Yeah, that's right. So that fear of becoming too dependent has been something that has been really shown that it's not something to be worried about, because if anything, the equipment helps them to do more. And then if they don't need it anymore, they won't need to use it. And that's completely okay. And for the children who will rely on equipment more than other children, so these tend to be your GMFCS level 4s and 5 kids, we want to find the most appropriate piece of equipment for them, because equipment will be a part of their life and they will be dependent on it. All right. But we need to find the piece of equipment that helps them to do everything they still want to do still, and there's more technology around that for that now.
And they should, right?
Yeah.
They should have that freedom
that's right.
To move.
So it's not really such a concern anymore because we understand more about the role of equipment in these kids' lives. Yep.
And do you think there are those that have differing opinions? And what do we do about this?
Yeah, there's definitely people with different opinions.
Block them out?
I think it goes back to my FOMO misinformation one. Yeah. Well, it's true, right? Like, this is an area that has moved along very quickly. So you are going to have people who believe otherwise, and that's because that's how we were trained. Yeah. But the time to move forward is now. Like, we can't keep waiting to bring everyone on board to agree to come down, because the research is in, the evidence is there. We want kids to live their best life. Yeah. The first 1,000 days are really important. Let's make sure we support them the best we can. And the research is strong in this area. Yeah. So there's no real reason not to do it apart from personal opinion. Yeah. But this is why it's so important to be evidence-based. Being evidence-based means, yes, my clinical skills are really important, but it's not all about me. It's actually mainly about the science. Yep. If the science moves and shows something is working, I go there because that's going to give the best outcomes for the kids I work with. Yep. That contrasts significantly with evidence-informed practice. And I've seen that around a lot lately, and evidence-informed practice can be very cherry-picking. It's kind of like, my clinical skills are important and I'm going to base my decisions on my clinical expertise. So, I'll kind of use the evidence, but not really, is kind of the approach of it. That's what the definitions are coming out as. And so when you do that, you're still not following the science, and the science has moved. and it's showing that we can get really good outcomes. So like, why not?
Yeah.
Why wouldn't we do it?
I guess so. And especially when you bring it back down to equipment. I mean, technology is so much better now.
So much better.
So there's a lot more available, and you can probably specialize it to the individual that's actually utilizing it. So
that's right.
Like, why not?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. So I think it's time to look at that science. It's very, and science is objective. The facts there don't really care about anyone's feelings. These are the numbers. These are the facts.
Yeah.
This is what they are. And so our decision to take them on is based on our personal opinion. Yes. But if our personal opinion is for our children to thrive, then it's kind of a no-brainer.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Thank you for that.
You are very welcome. Another great question. I love these questions. They get me very excited. Hopefully that was useful for everyone else as well. And we'll talk to you all again next time. See you later. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.